most of the people, like I said, if you are a professor being fashioned by a Western institution, how then do you know about African philosophy? What content are you going to bring? So we need to get out, move out of these structures, all of these institutions on the continent, and look for content, because content is there. In Africa, there's no continent or country in the world that possesses literature that we have in the continent. Volumes and volumes and volumes of literature. All we have to do is to go back, dust that information, present it as it was before. How do you civilize the world? Then you become, at the end, you are now following your children. Because you gave back to them. They are all your children. Now they are teaching you what you are supposed to teach them. Because of the ignorance, you are ignorant of yourself. That's the problem. That's why we find ourselves in this predicament. Because there is no leadership on the continent. All we are breeding is people that have been, fashioned by Western thought. Nobody stands up there and says, me, I can quote, Shikanta Job. Those are great people. Theophile Obenga. There's so many people. Abum Fundish, there are so many people outside this Western system that we need to rely on. And people that have actually showed the way how it's done. Shikanta Job tells us about the oldest, constitution in the world. It's an African, constitution. So why is UNISA and other, institutions not learning about that? Because that should be the basis of our, constitution. It then poses a question, like I say, I don't know what, what contribution am I going to make, talking about transformation, because what, we need to do, we need to remove, I'll make an example. The father of medicine is Imhotep, not Hippocrates. Yes. So that's where it should start. We should now start teaching about Imhotep. But if our institutions don't, give us that information, because they don't possess, the colonizers told them this is the truth, yes, and nothing else. Yes. So those are things that we need to critically, because you see, if we don't do that, see, are generations to come, for them to be slaves again. It's a generational curse that we have to stop. And people took conscious decisions. They took conscious decisions to ignore what was there before. It's not like they didn't know. You can't sit in Ghana and don't know that Kemet, Kemet was the capital of the whole world. And Kemet didn't start in Egypt. Kemet started here in South Africa. The same people who went and refined all this knowledge and systems in Egypt, they started here in South Africa. That's how ignorant we are. We need to know about the Enki calendar, what is commonly known about, to be the Adam's calendar. Ubaba Credo talks about it. He calls it in Zado Elam. Those are proofs of what civilization started here. That's the oldest stone calendar in the world. The rules of the first city in the world are here in South Africa. So what are you guys doing? You're killing the nation. Nisfunza doing continuously. And yet you're saying, I'm a professor, yes, you're a professor, but what are you prophesying about? Hey, Western thought. If you're ignorant of your own. So we need to go and, Google in front of our Gogo, Mkhulu, because they still possess this knowledge. And go to those people that we thought would tamataba. We have never been colonized. They still possess this knowledge. Because lento esithi professor says nayo into yengane. Abelungu yingane kithi. We present and redefine the African identity. I mean, you know, it's like South Africa, colony to Europe. Young in Europe that comes with, we just accept. I was never taught, that's who I was known. Why are the land of this is degraded? This is Democrats. We are of royalty. The royal blood runs in our veins. So now we look at such things as barbarism because the white men told us that it was barbarism. We don't even, you know, take time and look, you know, the greatest governing structure of the continent that brought civilization in the world, codes. After Ubukosi, nothing happened on the continent. We were then slaves. And how did we become slaves? Because of self-preservation. There was a strong empire on the continent called the Great Empire of Chemics. Yes. It had its branches here in South Africa. They called themselves Mkhulu. Yes. That was the greatest empire that ruled the world. But because of self-preservation, some of the kingdoms decided to sell out. That is why we find ourselves in the situation we are in today. And that same sickness is a corner and namhlanje. Because why do we have, as black people, why do we have so many political parties? How do you give birth in 94 to a child and say Sugene? There was no majority there. Because the problem, the ANC problem, the EFF, is the same thing. So why is it Sugene? Why is it Sugene?
It's about power.
Self-preservation akona. Uthi mina I'm a better manager of a Western construct. And nothing else. But what happens to the majority of African people that expect leadership from us? Continue betraying them. Why? Because I want to be a billionaire. I want to be seen to be the smartest amongst all of them. There's no maturity there. Our problem needs us to unite. I'm telling you, if we can do that, 10 years is more than enough. We can transform South Africa. Firstly, economically. The billions that leave our townships every year. Go where? Who are we supporting with these billions? Instead of containing that money to circulate amongst us. And we must stop pointing at the white people. The problem is no longer white people. The problem is us in the way. We still suffer the residue of a colonial mindset. Because if we clean our minds, we will begin to think like normal people again. So that's why we start. The revolution that we need, the last mile. We need to walk this revolution. And as a collective, a united force. Not what the ANC claims this, EFF claims that, EIP claims that. That is nonsense. I'm sorry to use that language. But that is taking us nowhere. We need unity, even just to fix the content. We need unity because that form of the Constitution, it needs a majority, a two-thirds majority. How are we going to achieve it when, you know, the IFP says, no, I don't agree with you. Huh? because somebody said, no, you must draw this line. Who gets affected? It's ordinary people. And let us think like other people where they plan 100 years in future. What you are doing now, you know, it will benefit generations to come. I'm fine. The rest. We should be planning for hundreds of years to say whatever decisions we take now are going to affect generations and generations to come. Like this immature decision we took in '94. Because of that decision. Because of that decision. It was very immature. We're supposed to unite. We're supposed to unite in '94. So, Makesha, message Yamila. I see, let us unite so that we deal with the fundamental problems of our nation, the African nation. Africa, everywhere, we're Jamaica, we're US, the condition of a black person is the same. Because you have moved away from your power. Spiritual people. That is the basis or the source of our power. Now when you move yourself and unplug yourself, you become vulnerable. Everything has to be informed by your core. There were no political formations then. When it comes back, Abu Sabuel to say, give us a fresh mandate. Then this illness, self-preservation, surfaces. Then Ibamba Bandabane, no, I'm a better manager of a Western Council. That is why we're here. So in solution to all our problems, and we're going nowhere. We need to go to the root. Look at our social situation. South Africa. Those are our brothers. They have the same problem in their countries because the leadership is the same. You're breeding the same breed of leaders who are willing and they normalize the colonization. Yes. They stand there representing the Western thought and the Western culture in everything they say, in everything they do. So we need unity. Unity will give us solutions not only to content transformation in these institutions, but the whole perceptions about ourselves and the whole image. You are a parent. What happens when a parent absconds the responsibility? There's chaos. That is the chaos you see in the whole world. Why? Because when in Africa you have absconded your responsibility to parent your children. So ngiyacela Makesha, akukho mina engakhuluma ngalokho ukuthi nje UNISA must give us an opportunity to come and assist them, to direct them as to where they can find this content. Not only in law, everything that UNISA needs to change. When you talk about transformation, you want to talk about, you've changed from this professor to a black professor. But the fruit is the same. There's no difference. So that's not transformation. Content, we need to change the content. And how do we change the content with all these divisions that we have? Neither not at University, confusion amongst us. See how happy with that attitude. We're going nowhere. So let us all work towards unifying you know, the black nation, because we've been affected, colonization, apartheid, siyagula, sidinga ukuyilapha, and only the truth can heal us. Thokozani. Okay, let me just speak to this very, very briefly. It was wrong, right from the start, to start what is called the Republic of South Africa. They have no right and mandate to balkanize umhlaba wamakhosi and put them under what is called the Republic of South Africa. So for us to dismantle things, we have to start right there. Abakwasithole abathola umhlaba wabo. AbakwaMakhado abathola umhlaba wabo. Then we then sit down and say, how do we accommodate people that are from outside? Ngoba nabo, they've got to adopt an African culture and an African language for them to exist on this continent. So Tina, we've done it the other way around, where we are accommodating our visitors in our own country. So if we are to be truthful in addressing our problems that face African people, we have to deal, because that problem didn't start in South Africa, right from Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah allowed them, or they balkanized before him, but he then carried on and continued where white people left. So it damaged. It's not only here, right from Kwame Nkrumah. Yes, sir. We still suffer the same ill today. So it's very dangerous when I tell you, because of that you can't trust Umuntu, especially Umuntu Lambi. Very easily tempted by materialism. How do we deal nemidlwembe of professors? That's a very difficult one, because in the struggle we knew exactly how to deal with the midlwembe. But now, because of your we have an idea what is Sipumile, and the struggle is still on. It's not yet Uhuru. Those who betray us, we must take a decision collectively as to how we deal with them, because they are the enemy of the progress. Those who are, spearheading a revolution, you should speak in front of them so that they know from today, this is the decision we are taking. Whoever betrays this, they should follow. That's the only thing, because you misremember that made us lose power. Hey. Then, Kesha, there's a book by George James called The Stolen Legacy. Yes. That is the book that will, give you a researched and scientific information how these Romans and Greeks plagiarized to form what is called Western civilization, which is something that doesn't exist at all. Because Lava were taught by us. They were supposed to then credit the source. So people can, get that book to clarify that. Then when it comes to the constitution, African constitution, who Professor Shekhanta Diop, who is my, leader, a person that has used information and knowledge he got from these white institutions, he used that knowledge to seek the route going back home and to give us Tina Izulwan, the scientific basis to argue this white supremacy. So Shekhanta Diop should be introduced, should be the first person that we introduce his books, because there's no other person better than Shikata Diop, that has given us scientific information, you know, and knowledge for us to actually correct, you know, this anomaly. Then there's the concept of Ma'at, the 42 confessions. Ma'at is like Ubuntu in its original form, before it was messed up and you know, be used by all sorts of people. Ma'at meaning that everything that you do, you are doing it consciously, knowing that whatever I'm doing, it has got to create harmony and balance. Not only on the physical, but spiritual. My actions, because uma athi ngathi ilento esiyibiza unembeza, wenza into embi, you don't show it to me, but you feel it. You won't show it to me, but you feel it. So you strive, or Kokobet, you strived, even you know, in terms of structuring the government and the society itself. It was all to do with a balance. You know, as one of their idioms says, you know, as above, so is below. You know, it was a continuous pursuit of that balance, because once there's balance, I normally say to people, Nuguti, when there's a resonance between heaven and earth, then magic comes out of that. So meaning Guti, yonke into oyenzayo, try and make sure that you create that balance. You know, for the decision Guti, now untombazane uyadlula. If you were not brought up by the principles of Ma'at, whereby every morning and every night before you sleep, there are 42 principles called the principles of Ma'at, that you have to, in yourself, confess, I have not raped, I have not committed this, I have. So that was the general or the foundation of African's constitution. That is why there was harmony in Africa, because we're guided by the principles of Ma'at. Shokuti Ma'at principle reigns supreme in every aspect of our lives. That is why we're never, you know, needed to be policed or Sifagama prisons. You've never heard of the Africa in prisons, because we had our own way of dealing, you know, with the character that has actually lost, you know, in there. So, if we are to reintroduce a constitution yet, it has to be based on Ma'at. And that is the subject that still needs to be taught to most of the people, because by understanding, they don't know it. All they know, it's a bastardized version currently of Ubuntu.